Hi guys, it's your French teacher Andrei. In today's lesson, we are talking adjectives. We are talking adjectives, descriptive adjectives actually, because they can be both pronominal as well as descriptive. The descriptive adjectives are used, of course, in descriptions. So basically, when we want to talk about how our day has been, or we want to describe a certain person, we want to describe a certain object, we want to describe their color, we want anything like that, we are going to use descriptive adjectives. For example, un student sympathique or un ami vieux. They are adjusted according to the number and gender of the noun. So if you do not know what the number of gender of the noun is, or maybe you want to have a lesson on that, you can gain access to it by clicking the link in the first comment that I am going to attach down below. Other than that, descriptive adjectives are used also to emphasize some concepts, some aspects, or ideas. So let's talk about how we are going to say, for example, comparisons. Comparisons are a great way to emphasize some concepts, some aspects, or maybe to emphasize certain characteristics of a person, of an object, and so on. So, what about the degrees of comparison? What are those? Well, we have what is called the positive form of an adjective. So basically, if you find an adjective in text and you go into the dictionary and you find it in the same form, that is going to be the positive form. So let's take one example, grand, which means big in the sense of not tall, but big in sense of the volume. Now we have something called comparative and superlative. The comparative can be a comparative of superiority, plus grand que, and now you see how it can be adjusted to the masculine or feminine by adding an e or an s at or both at the end. So if I were to say ces édifices sont plus grands que ceux du New York, that would mean these buildings are bigger than those in New York. Okay. Also, you can have comparative of inferiority, so that would mean less than. Okay, we have more than or less than, just as we have in English. Plus que et moins que. Moins que would result in the comparison being moins grand que. So less big than. And also we have aussi grand que, which means as big as, right? In the sense of as big as or as much as, we also have an expression. So we want to also see this expression because it is an expression used in comparisons, autant que, which means as much as or as big as, but it's not, let's say, it's not very known, the fact that it can be used for comparisons. Also, you have the superlative, which means that you're going to see something like this: le plus, or la plus, or les plus, grand, grande, or grande, according to the gender and number of the noun. So, if I were to talk again about the, let's take students for example, les étudiantes sont les plus grandes de la classe, right? It would mean these students, and we're talking about female students, are the biggest in the classroom. Also, you may have a superlative of inferiority, le moins grand. In the same way, you can have le plus grand, and therefore you would have le moins grand, la moins grand, le moins grand, le moins grande. Okay. Also, you can have superlative absolute, or which is going to use tre and not tro. Now there is the biggest confusion with tre and tro because they mean two different things. You can say tro, which means two. So basically, you could say je suis très grande. It would mean I am very big. But you can also say je suis trop grande, which means I am too big. Okay, so there are two different quantifiers for these adjectives. right? If you understood it, now I'm going to want you to write in the comments your own example uh, of all of the degrees of comparison, but this time for the adjective petit. Now, in this exercise, I want you to try your own at completing the this text with the correct forms um, of the adjective that we have in the parentheses. I've also told you which form you should use. So, for example, superlative of superiority. But you have to think about what we've talked about before. You have to think about the gender and the number of the noun, which is important. So, I'm going to also give you an example for the first case. Ami. Therefore, we have ami is the base word, the base noun. We see that it is in feminine form and also in plural form because of the last E and S. And therefore, we know that we need to use the form les plus, right? So all that we need in this case is also the base form of the adjective. And here it is where the indication is going to play out. Because in this case, beau is an irregular adjective. And we are going to talk about irregular adjectives actually in our next lesson. So subscribe to my channel for that next lesson. But for this case, for this scenario, you have different forms. Beau is going to be the form if it is after the noun. In this case, it is not going to be. And also if it is masculine, which is not. Then we have belle, which is if it is before the noun, but also masculine. Also, you have beau, which with an aux ending, which is the case for masculine plural, which is not the case, but we have the form for the feminine plural, belle. So that is the form that we need to use. So in that specific case, we'd have les plus belles. Les plus belles amies que j'ai eues sont venues aujourd'hui. Now it is up to you to comment down below your answers for the next 1, 2, 3, 4 adjectives uh, that you see in the parentheses. And I can't wait to see your answers. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share it to other people that want to learn French. And also don't forget to like this video for the algorithm. For now, bye bye.